this is certainly a different film. As edgy as it is, it could have been edgier, and the plot sags a little toward the end. But with the latest Ant-Man topping the box office, it wins points for
Oh,
being different.
oh my God.
It's getting points for being different.
Pizza time. Pizza time. Pizza time. You're late.
Pizza time.
Pizza time.
Alex, how you doing, man? You keeping warm?
Keeping warm, trying to. Sorry for the extra noise. If you hear that, that's my heater going. Just trying to keep me.
Don't
keep
apologize.
Me just a little bit warm. I mean, I have a hoodie, but I don't want to wear it because it's inside and I'll get.
I'm going to, if you don't mind, because it's freaking in LA right now. It's a nightmare. It's wild. It's so freaking cold.
I was watching the news last night. I guess people still do that from time to time, and there was just nothing but bad news up in LA. I was watching people on the Burbank side of the 101 just driving through what looked like a river. It was just all so bad. And then just not so far from us up in Big Bear, dude, the snow is immense.
Oh, wild. Yeah. Grapevine obviously was closed down. And all the closed, it was not, and gnarly. Dude, hail. There was some hail in like Santa Monica or something. Did you hear about that?
Dude.
Hail.
It hailed down here for like 10, 15 minutes. But yeah, today's our rainy day. The streets, it's been raining nonstop since about 4 a.m. this morning, and everything's basically flooded. So that's great.
And the irony is that as Southern Californians, we apologize that it sounds like such a first world problem to complain about this kind of thing because it's just worse everywhere else. In some places that experience it, at least.
Yeah. I mean, look. For our Indian fans who are probably watching this episode, I mean, you're probably looking for timestamps already to start seeing when we go to that review that we're talking about later today. But yeah, like the thing I'm not from Southern California, neither you or
neither am I
in general, but like I can take most weather. My issue with the rain in California is that it literally just dissolves all the streets, all the tarmac, all the cement, all the asphalt used. It just dissolves it.
It's like sugar and coffee.
Yeah. There is like so many potholes, and this state is just so like slow to fix all the stuff. They eventually get to it, But, I mean, some of these potholes are massive, and they just they can wreck your day. And yeah, that's my biggest problem with the rain. I can't stand how bad the like infrastructure of Southern California is.
It's the irony is I agree with you. The irony is that it is pretty gross, and yet everyone comes here from like all over the place, gawking at it. And it is beautiful, but it's also not like there are a lot of better areas than but it is what it is. What are you gonna
live
do?
Elsewhere if you can. I think
I for sure these days, yes, for the love of God. My goodness. For every pothole, there's just like another 5 homeless people, showering together underneath
my sister lives up in now she lives up in like wine country up there, but she lives down closer to the city in San Francisco. And she didn't leave because of the homeless, but she said it was becoming just kind of very bad, and like she's
it's even worse in San Francisco.
It's way worse in San Francisco,
and that's where I'm from, and I'm shook. I'm shocked at how bad it is up there, considering I used to think that was sort of my safe haven from LA, and no longer. When you know that LA is a safe haven from San Francisco, you have a problem. You have a humongous problem.
I mean, it's funny. It gets better as you go further south. So like San Diego is the best, but even dude, I was downtown this past weekend, and it is very, very, very much starting to look a lot like LA.
No.
And
Dude, I love SD.
I don't know how you fix it. I don't know how you help them or how you move them or anything like that. I don't really know. I mean,
I don't have any answers for that either.
I don't know any statistics about it, so I'm not trying to say anything like negative about them or anything. But
either
there's got to be something you can do to help them or move them or something. I don't know.
I guess not. I don't know.
I mean, ship them to
I have a solution.
Montana. No, that's probably bad. Can't be homeless in Montana. That's probably bad, right? That's probably like death if you're homeless in Montana.
I've never been to
like freeze
Montana,
to
but
death.
I
Oh,
maybe
Montana's
so.
beautiful. First of all, beautiful.
Sure.
Way too expensive, but beautiful. I think all the rich Californians moved there and ruined it. Because it's
Yeah.
just. I went to Bozeman a couple summers ago, and dude, it is so pretty. But the houses, like, take a guess of what you think a house costs there.
150,000.
No,
More?
1.2 million.
Wait, where? In Montana?
Bozeman, Montana.
Why is it so? Oh, I don't see why. Why I was totally expecting something way cheaper.
I
What's
don't
going
know
on
why
here?
it's so expensive. I mean, it's very pretty, but I mean,
That's a lot. That's too much.
that is
That's
too
like
much.
here. What the hell? Okay, see,
It's too
so
much.
not every place in America is safe from the rising,
No,
the horrible
place.
housing market.
No place is
Obviously,
safe.
yeah.
One day we'll own houses.
One day I'll go to Montana, check it out.
Well, I guess we'll see. You scream outdoor guy, so you love the outdoors and nature. And,
I
think
do
you
have
fit
a
right in
drone.
Montana. Oh, well then, there you go.
I do have a drone, so I am quite the outdoorsy person. Yes, that's such an LA fucking thing to say.
Yeah,
I feel so gross from saying that.
That means yeah.
Oh my god. Well, speaking of exoduses from Los Angeles, first piece of news today is that perhaps that happened at Aquaman 2 screenings. People just thinking that's absolute crap and they need to get the fuck out, apparently. That's what we're going to start with.
I think that's what we call starting with. Yeah, that's what we're starting with.
Not too much today, but that is our big piece of news. We're going to get to 2 reviews today after that, which is our Cocaine Bear, because I forced Alex to see it. We weren't supposed to do this, but he saw it and I love him for it. But oh boy, if I could just show you guys the text chain. And maybe I might. And after that, the big one we're going to talk about is that we are continuing with our Indian cinema takeover or whatever, our trudge into the journey universe, and we watched Ek the Tiger, the first installment in the Tiger now trilogy that is coming out. So
November is when Tiger 3 comes out. So
I'm for it. I'm all for it as of right now, and just to project what we're gonna how I feel about it. It makes me feel excited. So those are 2 reviews. Let's start off with some news. Let's start off with Aquaman. So okay. What the fuck? So Aquaman 2 got a screening, a secret special screening, not so secret anymore, because of the fact that apparently a lot of people are saying it's terrible. That there were some reports that said people left the screening because it was one of the worst DC movies, if not the worst DC movie they've seen. And again, these are all, who knows where it's coming from necessarily, but it is making the rounds. And take it as you are, probably obviously with a grain of salt, but that's not good. And I'm also not surprised. We were also kind of, with the turmoil that was going on with the production of that movie and the trial with Amber Heard and all this shit, and then all this shit happening with DC. I'm not too surprised, but that sounds really bad. So, Alex, I wanted to get your take on that. What did you think when you first heard that?
I am surprised that it's being walked out. Like, Aquaman was one of the most popular movies of the DCEU up to this
true.
point, right?
I didn't like it, but
you didn't like it. It grossed $1 billion though.
Yeah,
and people had fun watching it. It was, I think it was positively reviewed. I think it was also positively,
let me check the score for that while you.
Held in high regard of audiences. Sorry, and I think that this. It's the same director. It's Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa is a very likable actor. A lot of people really, really enjoy the first one. So I was surprised to hear that, test screenings have been that bad that people are walking out. And apparently the movie is currently undergoing many, many reshoots.
No, really?
Yeah, I looked it up here. I looked up test screenings and the movie is in extensive reshoots at the moment after extremely poor test screenings.
Wow. I thought they would have gave up on it, to be honest with you.
So, like, grain of salt, right? But like, we should also put the caveat that every movie goes to reshoots. Every movie goes to reshoots to fix something, to change something, and it's usually 1 or 2 months before release. This is far ahead of release. And there, look, people don't like this movie, I don't like this movie, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, but this is a very similar account to test screenings for that movie. Test screenings for that movie apparently were awful. People walked out. It went to reshoots, and I think a lot of people regard it as one of the better Star Wars, like newer Star Wars
New
films we've gotten in
modern,
the
yeah,
last several
recent.
years. So it could turn out just fine, right? But yeah, like you said, dude, with all the turmoil of the Amber Heard trial, and you know, this is the swan song of the DCEU. I don't really know. And like, my question to you, to throw it back to you, is if you're the Warner Bros. Execs, what are you thinking right now? Like, what are you doing? Are you like, fuck, what's going through your mind? Because you have to throw reshoots are expensive. We know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Sometimes they cost a lot more than the production of the main movie. What are you thinking if you're David Zaslav? Like, at this point, again, we had this conversation last year. Why even put these films out? Why?
Yeah, right.
Why put the money to fix them? But Ed, what do you think?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, my initial response there, if anybody was watching, I was like, well, what do I think they're thinking? There's no surprise. They're obviously by now. it should take a whale on top of the pyramids to surprise the WB execs at this point, in terms of things that just they don't expect. But I think they're in a state where they are in full expectation that like the things that were in production, at least in the last 2 years, yeah, I'm sure were not going to be the best things that they've ever done. That being said, you mentioned though, yeah, why would they then spend money on reshoots?
Right.
Because I was gonna say they should just fucking drop this movie. Just who gives a shit at this point? Fuck it. So, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's very possible. Remember, we still don't know until we see, I guess, The Flash, how these next couple of movies will go into the DCU, James Gunn's and Peter Safran's DCU. Who they again? He went on actual video saying the names of the movies. He recognizes them. They are somewhat weirdly connected somehow. So maybe this might be a Peter Safran and James Gunn move where they're like, these reshoots could be and hopefully are a part of that. I can only hope that they are a part of making sure this kind of fits with wherever they're going. Remember, Jason Momoa in recent interviews or recent sightings in regards to him meeting up with them, is that he's been happy. It was reported that after his meeting with James Gunn and Safran, that he walked out of that meeting happy and smiling and like he's that guy, let's be honest. But still, like that's not bad news. So he's clearly probably still a part of the DCU moving on. And so this might be a way to hopefully be a part of that in some way.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, if that's one way to take it, but
it's one way.
I took
not the best way.
The way I take the James Gunn DCEU and all these movies coming out talk that he came out and said is the same way I take Kevin Feige saying seeing the Marvels on screen for the first time is like watching the first 6 Avengers. It's just marketing. It's just them trying to make sure these movies get seen. Look, there are so many rumors around The Flash that Grant Gustin will finish the movie as The Flash after everything is reset, that he just for that film and that's it. And I think this Aquaman movie is gonna live, and then it makes me sad because I think Blue Beetle is gonna live and it's just gonna die, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think he's continuing on. To me, I think this is just purely them trying to make any sort of money from this movie.
Right. Okay.
I think it's.
But by putting more money in there, right?
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because it's that Batgirl, paradox where the movie was so bad, you say fuck it, scrap it. But maybe that movie, I think the Batgirl budget was something like 50 million or something, but they said another 100 million had to go in to make it releasable, which is a lot of fucking money.
Well, there's your problem right there. That movie was only made for $50 million.
I think so, but Warner Bros. I think lost like $2.8 billion in Q4 of last year.
Well, that's not surprising at all.
Let's see here. Warner Bros.
By the way, I just looked up the Aquaman score just to bring it back to Aquaman. Dude, that shit is actually not that great. I didn't realize how low the score was. It's fresh at 65%.
Oh shit.
So
Warner
it's actually
Bros. Lost
how much?
3.4 lost. Holy shit. I was way off. lost $20 billion last year.
No, come on, bro.
Yeah.
What?
After their first quarter loss alone was $3.4 billion.
Ooh. Wow.
Holy shit.
Okay. Well, then I have a question. Where the fuck are the? Yeah, again, why do reshoots?
Holy shit. Well, look,
if it wasn't going to go to the other big investment they made in Peter Safran and James Gunn, why even do it? If it wasn't to maybe get into that other investment, right? It would be the only logical reason to do so. At least from that standpoint, yeah, right.
I mean, it's a logical reason, but like I think Warner Bros. Zaslav needs these 4 movies coming out this year to make a lot of money. And look, we talked off air about how Shazam is only trending to like a $35 million opening, which is really, really bad. After Ant-Man just made $115 million, and there's, by the way, not to get too off track here, which we're fucking famous for. A lot of people have hit me up and say my Ant-Man take is trash. I've had a lot of people hit me up and say I love your Ant-Man take.
Yeah.
So it's that movie's dividing a lot of people.
It's a very divisive.
Put a pin in that. We'll come back to it. Yeah. So for me, I think Warner Bros. Needs these movies to be massive hits. Now, again, there's so much surrounding The Flash. People are saying they're going to boycott it. There's already petitions starting for it. Like, I don't know how that movie's going to make money, but
I don't think
Aquaman was like, again, it made $1 billion. It was really popular. If you think you can fix it for like 50 million, then fix it. And maybe, just maybe, we've seen no marketing from it anyway, right?
None.
So like just maybe you're able to salvage another $1 billion franchise out of this. And then you're done with it. And then again, there's no DC movies releasing next year. So, hey, you try to make your $1 billion and then you're off with it. But that's my thought. Again, I do agree with you. The more logical solution is just cut your losses, throw it out on. I mean, hey, if you want to put it on theaters, put it on theaters. Apparently, bad movies make money. So, I mean, we're going to talk about one in a minute, but
yeah. I get it. It's also, I mean, it is part of the production cycle. Is that if a movie has a bad reception, that you try to fix it. That's normal, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even no matter what, that is normal. That's what you would try to do. At the end of the day, you try to make a good movie that makes money. So that makes sense. But again, I guess it depends on how much are they spending on it. Because again, if it was up to me, the only reason that you would even bother to spend a certain amount of money is if it actually, if it benefited their future goals with the DCU. So I'm betting money that they're not only using these reshoots to fix the movie, but also hopefully tie it to this new thing that we're doing. But again, I don't think we'll really know until we actually see The Flash, which that's going to be clearly their golden goose.
This year.
Apparently, it's going to be a humongous hit for them. I think it's what it's tracking off to be. So let's see from there. Not waiting until
to be clear, do you think The Flash, are you buying into James Gunn's The Flash is important and resets, and that after The Flash things will, like, we could potentially see Blue Beetle, the same Blue Beetle. We could potentially see Jason Momoa's Aquaman in the new DCU. Or are you on my side where I'm saying, no, that's all bullshit. He's just saying that to get people riled up about it. There's no way any of that is actually happening. Like, which one do you fall into? By the way, The Flash screens will premiere at CinemaCon.
I know. See, they're so confident about it. I heard about there's an early screening at CinemaCon for that movie. Wow.
That's I literally thought about you, and I thought, I didn't text you. I had a busy week, but I was like, that's confidence.
Super confident.
CinemaCon?
Confident. Yeah, I know.
CinemaCon. Like that. You don't put movies at CinemaCon unless you're insanely confident about them. Like the last big movie to screen at CinemaCon for the first time was Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, I know.
And everybody left saying, you need to go watch this movie. So I don't know, man.
Well, to answer your
That's my
question,
yeah.
oh yeah, to answer your question, it's like at this point, I don't know, man. I don't know. See, that's the thing. It's like there's just not enough information, and maybe that's a move on their part that's smart, like to just
Sure,
give
yeah.
less information. That way, people don't come to early conclusions about about what's happening. At this point, all I know is what I can hope that they do would be that would put me back on track to like what they're doing, which is not if the Flash is not only a great movie in and of itself, but they also start to actually use it as the reset, like purposeful, a purposeful move at the end of the movie that shows where this is going.
What would be that purposeful move to you? Tell me.
It's pretty. I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's a time travel movie, so just show that they would there would have to be a seed. Something would have to happen that big that would go. This is not the world that Barry goes to next, or whatever, or stays at, or whatever the case is. Not the same world that we were in. That's the most logical narrative thing I could think of that would make us go, okay, we may see things that are similar, but probably some that are just not. And my mind will just be open to whatever they throw at us at that point, right? Because at least narratively speaking, that makes a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense.
That's it. That's all they really have to do for the most part.
That is the end of Flashpoint. That is the end.
Then there you go. That's all it has to do.
He resets everything essentially.
Well, then there you go.
When he does so, like, it's still the same Batman. Like, the character at the beginning of the animated film, at least, Batman, looks like the character at the end of the film. He just has a different suit. Like, right. So in this version, you're just going to say everybody's different.
Well, there's already two different Batman in this movie. So yeah, I think they're foregoing
there's two different Batman in the other movie. Okay.
Exactly. So I think they're foregoing that whole little detail and just going like, yeah, this is what happens. Like at this point, anything can happen.
You're right. Anything can happen. I don't know.
That's it.
The trailer was very good.
The trailer was really good. I love it. It's my favorite trailer in a long time.
Like I said, there's already petitions to many DC fans plan on petitioning that movie. They don't want to go watch it. Now,
go ahead. Fine.
Shut up. I don't really know if you actually will. But yeah, I don't know. Back to bring this back to Aquaman. Aquaman and the Lost Legacy. That's not the name of this.
The Lost Legacy.
The Lost Kingdom.
Lost Kingdom.
Sorry. The Lost Kingdom. That was close. I'm looking right at it and I got it wrong. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Its budget was $205 million. It's the
that's a lot.
Third most expensive DCEU project ever, behind
Justice League.
$250 million for Dawn of Justice. Justice League cost $300 plus.
That makes sense.
I mean, they had to do those reshoots, right? It was kind of a nightmare. Not anybody's fault. Well, I mean, it was the studio's fault.
Yeah,
man. I just $205 million. You're probably gonna throw another $50 million in here to fix it. I think that's fine. I think you try to fix it and you try to salvage. You try to make $1 billion. That's what at the end of the day, that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, make a good marketing campaign. Yeah. Just make people want to see it.
Warner Bros. Is the perfect example of the movie theaters still needing to be around, because they tried to release all their films, their entire slate, onto HBO Max, and it saw subscriber growth, but not the growth that they needed to see in return.
Right.
So yeah, I and then the Batman, they released the Batman in theaters and it does bonkers. So I think I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
I also think it's very rare that a movie that was deemed terrible and then people walking out completely made a turnaround too. So,
but it has happened before. Like I said,
it has happened. Sure.
Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, was awfully the reports were terrible about it. And then again,
I still didn't love that movie either at the end of it all, but
don't like that movie at all.
Exactly. So I mean, I can only imagine what that was beforehand. Not that it's like the worst Star Wars thing I've ever seen. I thought it was just ended up being kind of lame and boring. But
as I go back, this is a controversial statement. As I go back, to be completely and totally honest with you, the best modern Star Wars movie that we've gotten in the last 10 years is Solo.
Yes. Yeah. See,
it's got to be.
It is. I agree with. I love that movie.
Yeah,
I've watched it 3 times. I think it's the best Star Wars movie to come out. Well, I still like The Force Awakens a lot, but Solo
Okay, good.
I don't know. I hear you. You're about to say like, yeah, it has like all that behind it, right?
Yeah, exactly. The Force
Yeah, yeah,
Awakens
yeah,
has
yeah.
all that nostalgia behind
true.
it, and it was
True.
like don't get me wrong,
It's a
JJ.
good adventure movie, though. I
In
think it's a
terms of
great
like
adventure
well
movie.
done movies, JJ
Yeah,
did a fucking amazing job, and it is a great adventure movie.
out of the park.
That
Out of
is
the
a
park.
fun. That's a great movie, and that's it. It's before you started hating all the characters.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, in terms of like in my opinion, the best movie,
I
I
agree with
think
you.
Solo's so
I
underrated.
love Solo. I really
Yeah.
did. I was, and then I was looking around hoping people would agree, and most people didn't give a shit. And I'm like, oh,
No,
fucking A, man.
but that goes to show you. You hope Lucasfilm learns its lesson.
Yeah.
Lucasfilm, when you try to replace Harrison Ford, it doesn't work. Indiana Jones: Dial of Destiny. Don't do what the
I'm
leaks are saying
getting
you're
more
doing.
worried about that movie now.
Me
Every
too.
day that passes.
There's a lot of people coming out defending Phoebe Waller-Bridge for like no
Yeah.
reason, and we're like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But yeah. So
Well,
anyway,
speaking
that's my
of
thought.
speaking of people replacing Han Solo, Alden Ehrenreich, he is in fact in Cocaine Bear, which I didn't even know until like a couple of days before I saw the movie. Do you want to jump into our Cocaine Bear review / talk about the score?
We can talk about
Because I
it.
hope to not talk about too much about the review of this
Yeah.
god awful movie.
Yeah,
To foreshadow how I feel about it. But let's move on to Cocaine Bear and our review. And the fact that we surprisingly are even doing one. But a little backstory is that I saw Cocaine Bear like maybe 2 weeks ago now at an early screening.
Yeah.
And long story very short, I thought it was god awful. I wanted to leave that movie. I never wanted to speak about that movie ever again. I think it's just you know how there are bad good movies? This was just a bad movie. It's barely a movie in my opinion. It's like hardly a story and coherency in
Can
any
we stop?
facet. Yes.
Can we stop?
Please.
That's the title, please.
What'd you
Cocaine
say?
Bear. It's barely a movie.
I didn't realize I said barely.
Yeah, barely a movie. Okay, keep
Yeah,
going.
it is. It's true. It's true. Well, anyways, so
Sorry.
no, it's fine. Again, the less I talk about this movie, the more the better. But anyways, I saw it early. It's god awful, you know. And then lo and behold, this week, you know, until then, you know, everyone's going like everyone, every critic, every friend, every host that I've ever worked with has said.
Yes, without naming names.
I'm not weighing names.
Say what people said.
That it's the same thing. That it's awful. That it's way too violent. That there is no story. That nothing makes sense. It's disjointed. That this is a career ender for director Elizabeth Banks, which I completely agreed with. And one particular critic who typically loves to love movies also hated it. And that's when you know this movie sucks.
Yes.
Also said that. So, you know, not a lot of steam behind this movie before any marketing and before any initial reviews. But then here you go, right? They hold the embargo for the movie till the day before release. Never a good sign. Never a good sign for any movie. The next day, what happens? Rotten Tomatoes score, the tomato meter score for this movie starts off at a really strong, solid 73% or 78% at the very top with like 50 reviews, which, you know, buffer zone, but still then the reviews started falling in at 70 reviews, 80 reviews. It was holding solid at like 71%, 70% fresh. I was like, what the fuck is going on? You sent me our own social tomato meter post about it. I didn't even bother looking, and I was like, "What the shit? Like, what's going on?" So, okay, so first of all, I want to get your review on it to see, because after that I was like, maybe you should go watch it. I felt like you tell me, did you have an inkling in you? Oops, sorry. Did you have an inkling in you that said when you saw the score, you were like, I don't know, maybe I kind of want just to see, like, is it really that bad? No. Was that it? Was that why you saw it?
So coming into the year, I was actually interested in watching this movie. And then you saw it, you know, with, you know, everybody. And then I messaged somebody else and they were like, yeah, it's pretty bad. And this person is also somebody who is very, very much positive on almost every movie. And I was like, whoa. And then you told me what that other person said. And when that other person says a movie's bad, you know a movie's really bad. When he's not entertained, sorry, put shouldn't have gendered them. My bad.
There's a lot of men. Don't worry.
Yeah,
There's
you're
a
right.
lot of men in the world.
less every day. It seems.
That's true.
Oh, woof.
Woof.
Yeah, I kind of lost all interest, and for me, what made me lose interest was when you talked about how violent it was, and I was like, Jesus, that's not how this movie's being sold to me at all, really. But anyway, yeah, so I went to go see it, and because Ed was like, "Am I crazy?" And Ed, I can tell you, you are not crazy. We may not agree on everything, but this movie was awful.
Thank you.
I watched this movie with there was, I don't know, pretty much the whole back row of the fucking theater was teenagers. Not one laugh the entire movie. This movie has, the comedic timing is terrible. The characters are pointless. The story is not there. It's non-existent. There is no story. Everything, the pacing is like, I guess it feels like you're on cocaine, but like in a bad way. Like the first 30 minutes of the movie are so slow, you want to like walk out, and then it gets going, and it's like, what the fuck is happening in this film?
You're right.
It's just all so bad, and like I don't understand how anybody left this film going, that was good, because literally it was quiet leaving a film. You know when you leave a film, it's absolutely quiet. One, it
the worst.
shocked you in the ending, or it was bad. And everybody walking out of this film was like, this is bad. This was really not entertaining. And I don't understand how this movie is getting such good reviews. And look, I'm all for, look, I love the Meg. I love a good B movie.
Yeah.
You know, I'm all for it. Creature Features Beast was fun, but like, you know, even movies that are so bad they're good, I'm all about that. This is not that. This is not that at all.
No.
This is just bad. This is so bad, it's really painfully bad. So that's
I'm glad you agree.
Yeah. Cocaine Bear is it's so bad, it's really, really bad.
I called it like the worst movie I've seen in like at least a year and a half. Like,
I would agree
at
with
least
that. It's the worst movie I've seen
in a while. Yeah.
Hey, here you go for listeners that actually listen to the show. I'd rather watch Thor: Love and Thunder over this movie. Right. That's how bad I thought this movie was. And I have an unequal disdain for Thor: Love and Thunder. Right. That's not matched by anybody.
Those are big words, man.
But yeah, I would rather watch Thor: Love and Thunder again than ever watch this movie again.
No, it's so true. I would rather watch a lot of really bad movies, like ill-received movies, than this movie, because again, I think the biggest problem is that it's just really poor. It's like a poor movie. It's a poor representation of what a movie should be. It's like the complete, and it's just not a movie. I'm just sorry. It's just not. Like, let's put up a bad movie against it. Suicide Squad, infamously known as one of the worst, like just not just superhero movies, just horrible experiences in a theater that I guess a lot of people, would agree with. I would rather watch that movie than rewatch this movie, because at least that is a semblance of a movie. Like, it has characters that seemingly make, are part of a plot that you can make out. But this just, again, you said it. There's barely, like, where's the story? What is it? There's no story. There's just people and a bear.
Yeah.
Who just need to be hurt and in trouble. That's it. That's literally all this movie is. And it's a great example of what a bad movie is and what not a movie is.
Yeah, there's no plot. There's no characters that you give any two cents about. There's a storyline between a mother and a daughter, and you never once get the feeling that the mom actually gives a damn about.
Bro, poor Kerry Russell, man. Kerry Russell deserved way more than this movie for her resume. I mean, I assume Kerry Russell and Elizabeth Banks are friends. That's the only way I could see Kerry Russell, an actress of her caliber, being okay with this shit of a script.
Yeah.
It's
There's
just
4 vignettes going on at one time.
At one time,
the mom is dating a new guy, but you don't know why she doesn't.
Who gives a shit?
So, like, it's just, that's it. That's a perfect review. Who gives a shit? nothing you gave us mattered. You got this criminal who's mourning the loss of his wife.
Yeah.
You got another criminal who's like, what are you? Are you a bad guy? Are you a good guy? You got this cop who wants
so many
a lab,
characters
but
too.
gets a tiny little dog. Yeah, but I don't.
Yeah, and he doesn't even come back around to like literally end of the movie, and then we spend so much time with him in the beginning of the movie and his fucking dog. I'm like, what is the balance of this movie? It's just so wild.
It's just so bad, and we'll get into the score, but like I honestly feel like critics saw this movie and they're giving it brownie points because it's different, quote unquote different, because it doesn't follow a formula. But it's like movies don't need to follow everything everywhere. Doesn't follow a formula. It's great. This is not that. This is really, really, really bad. And I just like, I don't get how this movie got to the point where it was bad. Like, again, the first 30 minutes of the film move at a glacial pace, only to be like shot out of a fucking cannon for the next hour.
Yeah.
The movie was an hour and a half and it was too long. Like, it was too long. Like,
I know. I also felt the runtime. I was like, oh my God, it's only like, I think my screening was at like 7, got out at like 8:30. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? That felt like freaking 2 hours. That felt so long.
I don't know, man. I just like,
look,
it was just so, just not a good, well done anything. Nothing was.
Yeah.
Like, if I had to give like one positive thing about the movie, I think the bear CGI looked pretty good. Pretty good, you know, but like there's so many different characters. They all get eaten. Like in some of these creature features, right? You actually have to care about some of the characters. I don't care. They all could have died for all I care. I don't really give a damn about any of them.
Yeah.
You know,
the script doesn't care about any of them either.
Yeah. So it was like, what is, you know, the music is silly at some point. It's like, okay, seriously, all this 80s music. I hated the movie the second the stupid Black Bear source Wikipedia.
Yeah, I thought that was lame.
Like that's people
that really set the tone for the comedy.
This was made by people who think they're smarter than they are.
Right.
And think they're funny. You know those type of people, I
think
I'm the funniest guy in the room, but you're not.
Yeah.
This is this movie was made by.
Like, you 100%. You exactly. Yeah. There's so many attempts.
Yes.
Like very deliberate attempts at comedy that clearly are sort of inspired by a lot of other movies that have done it not only just better, but actually did it right.
Yeah.
This movie does none of that right. None of it. There are moments where, again, insane violence, like Deadpool level of violence that just didn't work. Because I'm like, what made you think that I'm sorry, but it's like, I'm sure a lot of it has to do with Elizabeth Banks. Like Elizabeth, what the fuck? Like, you don't understand this. You don't understand the tools that you were using.
Yeah. Right.
You just don't. And there's like these like the little like the tiny little flashbacks to like these magical realism moments that didn't actually happen. You know those moments like where for example, he's like, oh, I wish I could that criminal was like thinking back to his friends, and then it flashes back to them all like with their heads chopped off.
Yeah.
I was like, what was that?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
What does that mean? I don't is that supposed to be funny?
Yeah.
It's just so what the fuck?
Yeah.
And you just go like, okay, you saw that in a movie, you liked it, but you didn't know that you shouldn't have used it here. That's not appropriate for that.
Right.
So I'm sorry, but it's just like it's a hallmarks of just like a really poor.
Yeah, she's
poor director. I'm sorry, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth Banks thought she saw like this was cool in this horror movie where he flashes back and sees all his friends dead, like in a werewolf in Paris or something, right?
Right.
Or this is cool, like in this movie. So I'm just gonna take all this and I'm gonna mishmash it and stuff it into this fucking movie.
Right.
And it's gonna be great, and it's awful.
It's an awful experience. I honestly think it's going to be looked at. It should be looked at as one of the examples of like when you're teaching young filmmakers about
what not to do.
Well, yeah, but just sort of sensibilities, right? About like how you just be careful about what you choose as a director to pull and then get inspired from, and how like it matters. It matters how you use something. It really does. You can't just expect to like, have an arsenal of tactics and techniques, filmmaking techniques, and just because you use them, gold happens. It's like, no, there's a purpose for a lot of these things, and this is an exact example of how you can have absolutely nothing when you think you have all these things that's going for it. It's just, I'm not trying to actually, I'm saying this with like just all earnesty. I'm not trying to bash on Elizabeth Banks. Honestly, it's like, I'm having a heart to heart with her. I'm like, look, I get it. You're an actress, you're trying to be a director, but please take this seriously now. Like,
and
please do better, or just get out of the game, because like, this is just awful. This is exactly what could ruin, the art of cinema, is stuff like this, making money off of this crap. Like, watch out. Guess what happens if this makes a lot of money, gets a lot of critical reviews? Look at the shit that's going to come out in the future. Watch.
The sequel's already been greenlit. I guarantee you. I guarantee
Bro,
you. I think it's going to make like 25.
You said that with confidence, you motherfucker.
I think it's going to be like 25 million at the box office this weekend, and I think a sequel will be greenlit. She's already talking about doing Cocaine Shark. So yeah, I completely agree. I think we should get to the critic score here.
Yeah, let's do it. Actually went up to it now. So because this is a more interesting talk, I think, because like I can bash it. We can easily bash this movie for hours because it's almost too easy, and I really don't want it to turn that way. So let's talk about the score at the moment. Or go ahead. Did you have something?
I literally just found first little scroll on Rotten Tomatoes. This is what one critic said, and it should just sum up this entire talk.
Go for it.
It says, "This is certainly a different film, but I skipped some lines. This is certainly a different film. As edgy as it is, it could have been edgier, and the plot sags a little toward the end. But with the latest Ant-Man topping the box office, it wins points for being different."
Oh my God.
It's getting points for being different.
This is Stephen Romay, right?
Yeah, Stephen Romay.
Stephen.
And again, like John Roca, it's fun. B movies of the 80s. Like Lake Placid is just, go watch Lake Placid and then tell me this movie is good.
John Roca just said Elizabeth Banks has directed a winner. Oh my God.
Yeah, but John Roca also thinks that AMC is trying to divide people.
I know.
Class.
I actually really like John Roca. I've watched him on Collider and all that a lot, but I don't know, man. Right now, I haven't been agreeing with you, buddy. Not that I have to, but just
I think John Roca is an idiot. I'll say.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, I guess that's it. That's it for him being on the after show. Just kidding.
He doesn't watch us.
Hey, no, he doesn't. He doesn't.
You're probably not. I'm not the first person to call you an idiot.
But look, that's a great. You did pull a great quote for that. And just to give people context, right now, the film first before we dive into that, the film is held at 71%, 204 reviews. That's gonna stay. Oh, yeah. That's gonna stick. Audience score with them 73%. That's still pretty good. So it's a positive response overall. It is a win. But like you said, so Steven says to bring this to a movie that just came out last week, and that score being something that we were like shocked about because it had a rotten score. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is rotten at 47 or 40, I don't know, 47, 48, whatever. But it was poorly received. Now, so you see that score, right, Alex? You see this score. Two movies that I would put on the absolute opposite ends of the scale, even at how okay I thought Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was.
Yeah.
What the fuck? So what the fuck is that? That's what it is, maybe, right? Steven maybe said it perfectly. People are just giving it points for being different, because it's not an MCU movie. Is that what it is? It's because it's not an MCU movie. Is that why you're giving it points? It's because it's like not a movie, because it's like it's being edgy. It's not a movie. It's just like a bunch of bullshit. Like I don't know.
I guess we should be fair here to Steven. Because like these are just like blurbs from the articles.
Yeah, of course.
So it's just the wrap up of it.
I actually don't know. I don't even know Steven. I'm just
we don't know what fully it says. But like it's just I don't know. I really honestly don't know why this gets points for being different. Like, I'm all for giving stuff that's different to give it points. Kooky movies, sure, but this movie isn't kooky or zany or any of those words. Or, I mean, I think it's crass, but like, when did crass become a good thing?
Yeah, true.
You know, like this movie, this review says when it works, it's like a fusion of an ultra-violent cartoon with the Pulp Fiction scene in which Vincent accidentally shoots Marvin in the face. But like,
Jesus
scene,
Christ, that scene. Oh my
that
God.
scene is hilarious and fun because it's so unexpected, and it's like these are two characters. There's dialogue that's hilarious that's happening during this, and the results are hilarious. There's runway into this scene, and there's consequences after the scene. It's well crafted. It's done. This isn't that. It's not a fusion of that. No, at all.
No, not even close.
No.
Not even close.
So like, you're comparing Cocaine Bear to Pulp Fiction? Come on.
No.
Like,
that's true. That's such a that is a good analogy there. Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm reading all these reviews, man, and it's just like we had a complete opposite response. I'm just saying we had a complete opposite response to what some people are actually saying about this freaking movie. Like, oh, it's the comedy hits every beat, and the directing by Elizabeth Banks is so sharp, and it's a wicked sense of humor, big laughs. You see all these things, and I'm like, what movie did you watch?
Did you watch? Did you what was your theater reaction? Like, you watched it as a screening, so it was full.
Same thing. It was full. It was completely full. I was actually I was kind of surprised at how full it was. It was packed. But yeah, no, overall, it was not I would say, as someone who's been going to theaters for years, I wouldn't say it was something that particularly the audience was loving. There was a few people who were reacting to moments that obviously needed a reaction, like a lot of the violence when people going, oh, but I don't know if that was a positive thing or people are just going, wow, that's really fucking rough. But in terms of laughter, man, barely. I mean, just like not. No, I would say it was very negative, particularly negative from my in theater screening. But at the same time, I don't know. Again, is that a bad thing? Maybe people just wanted something that just was brain dead. Do you know what I mean? Just like at moments, just like kind of moments that make you react.
I mean, yeah,
maybe that's what people were looking at.
I don't know, man. You get better fucking characters and writing in a Sharknado film.
That's true.
I don't understand how this is being so well reviewed. This critic has me scratching my head. He says, maybe a deadly beast hopped up on nose candy is exactly what the environmental movement needs. What are we?
That shouldn't even be
talking about.
Yeah, bro, what are you talking about? I just want to go get some popcorn and eat some and then watch a movie. What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know. I really
what the fuck are you talking about, bro?
I'll probably have to read this.
What does it even have to do with environmentalism? What does the movie have to do with it? It doesn't even have that. Like, I don't get it. What are they talking about? Some cocaine fluid, like, fucking dropped from a plane into the forest. That blows my mind, man.
So this guy says, the same review says, Banks' film is probably too polished and too good to enter the pantheon of cult classics like Sharknado. No, it's not. It's like, I don't.
What the fuck is he talking about?
I don't know, but like the review on Rotten Tomatoes, that's the summary, is it an atmosphere in which it is all too easy to feel suffocated by climate anxiety. Elizabeth Banks' film cuts through our ecological malaise. But like, dude,
what
like,
is it? Why are you even saying?
So are there really people that walk around on a daily basis and say, "Man, I'm contributing to the end of the world. Man, look at my car, man. Damn." Like,
I think
that's like what he's saying.
Like one or two people.
I mean,
like him, and then
one of them.
His dog, by virtue of being with him on the walks.
Man.
Yeah.
Like, is this the type of world that we live in, that where people actually walk around like this and start
Again,
have
I don't-
anxiety about the climate on a daily basis?
we can talk about it on that level, but even then, I don't give a shit if they do. Why are you reviewing this movie? Why are you putting that shit into entertainment? It's just not the right place. I'm not telling you you should think otherwise. Just stop putting it in places that don't
Matter.
It just don't matter where we are. You're talking about a movie called Cocaine Bear and talking about ecology and fucking what are you talking about, bro?
This movie Cocaine Bear can give you relief to the climate crisis is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Like, dude,
do you know how many leaps of logic I feel like your brain has to do just to put those two together?
Like, shouldn't any movie should give you the break you need from anxiety? That's what movies are for, right? But like, if you actually start to think about it, you're a film critic, where'd they shoot this film? How much gas was used to make this film? Does it really actually give you a relief from the climate crisis when this film most likely contributed to it in a bigger way than you probably ever have in your life? Because the private jets that flew the cast there, think about all that. So like,
well, they don't want to think about all that.
Yeah, you can just it's stupid. Like, review the film for the film.
Yeah.
Like, so far, I've only seen one guy, David Sims at The Atlantic. You're getting a shout out because you got it right. Cocaine Bear could have been a triumph. I completely agree. But the jokes don't land. The zingers aren't up to the mayhem. And even though the characters in the movie are all well cast people, there's nobody here to root for.
Right. Who gives a shit about any of these characters?
Exactly. That's what we said at the top. You don't care about even like the most raunchiest comedies. 21 Jump Street, super bad. You still care about the characters. They make you like them. They make you root for them. That's why you want to see them win. You want to see them be successful on their silly high school trip.
Yeah, they're memorable.
That's what makes it work. They're memorable. There's nothing here that's memorable.
No.
Like the bear that chews off a dude's arm or drags a poor lady's face on the street. Holy fuck. That scene.
God, I told you, right? That scene was fucking gnarly. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
You made a great comparison to like Deadpool. You don't have Ryan Reynolds' charisma to carry you through the insane
exactly.
Breaking the fourth wall, telling you my boyfriend said that this was a Valentine's movie when he has the two guys on a sword saying, but I just shish kebab this guy. Like it works because it's aware of itself.
Exactly. I was literally about to say the reason why these things don't work is that there's no awareness that this is happening. Like it's actually kind of presenting it to you like, there it is. You deal with it.
Just normal.
And I'm like, ew, what the fuck? You want me to take a look at that woman's face being dragged across the concrete with almost no context, narratively speaking, besides, well, of course, physics would dictate that.
Right.
It's horrible. And I honestly, man, I'm really scared. The fact these fucking reviews of these people who just like took that without complete stride. I don't know what's going through your mind when you saw that scene. It bothers me to no end that no one's calling this movie out for that bullshit. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Everyone's just like, great job, fantastic work. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I like to give people the benefit of the doubt to think that like they have better taste than that, and say that I bet money part of this is that they just can't say anything bad about Elizabeth Banks. Like, you have to champion Elizabeth Banks. She's one of the women directors working today. She had a rough 2 terrible movies, or I don't know, maybe she did 3 by now. I don't know, but let's give her a break here. And it's you cannot put hardship on a woman. You just can't. You can't do that as long as they're with certain groups. Unlike someone with Miss Billionaire J.K. Rowling, who sticks up for her beliefs, provided the world with one of the biggest forms of entertainment that the world has ever seen, and then says something that she believes, and then is being thrown into the fire and is considered a devil to many.
But hey, she's rolling as long as I see it.
She's got the money.
Hogwarts. She owns Hogwarts. She never sold it. So
she owns she's the headmistress forever.
Whining and bitching about all this other stuff about, oh, you shouldn't buy Hogwarts Legacy. It just sold. It shipped like 12 million units in 2 weeks. She's rolling in dough, bro.
Yeah, but do you see just the forms of success that we are championing today? It's not even success. Like, this movie is absolutely awful. We're again, it's like giving a trophy to someone who lost just for trying.
It's a participation trophy. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the headline.
Elizabeth Banks is here and she's trying. So let's give her a trophy. It's like, stop. No, do not do that. And I'm not saying don't let her keep trying. If you want to fund her, I don't give a shit. Like, keep having her make movies. That's fine, but don't lie.
Don't tell me this movie's good.
Don't tell me this movie's good, and don't give her points for just trying. That's not right. That's just fundamentally, philosophically, just a problem for us as a society to do. It really is. And all people care about is how people feel, and that's it. Yeah. The world is much harder than how you feel. I'm sorry, but the amount of times I'm seeing her name in these fucking pull quotes just goes to show. Yeah, just like, okay, you didn't think the movie was amazing, but good enough.
And again, like, to anybody that's like watching this and saying, "Oh, obviously the film's not meant to be taken that seriously." No, we're not. We completely agree. This movie's not meant to be taken seriously at all. And we talk about, hey, movies that know what they are really, really great and really fun. I don't think this movie knows what it is.
No,
I think this movie wanted to be this like story of a mother and a daughter and how the mother went to go find the daughter. But that's just there.
It's completely schizophrenic.
It's so schizophrenic, exactly, that you don't. This movie doesn't know what it is. No. This movie is like, you know what? Someone saw it. We're just gonna be fucking violent. Just make the bear fucking violent. Kill everybody. Fuck it. Just fuck it. That's what it feels like. It's a it's just
so
I don't understand this movie.
Yeah, I don't understand it on any level what it was doing.
I'm totally with you guys. Some bad movies are amazing. It knows what it is. Like, there are groups of people, tons of people that love Batman and Robin. Right?
Yeah.
But like, that movie is full in knows what it is.
Right. Exactly.
And it works.
Yeah.
And like, George Clooney is still charming in that movie. It's stupid, but there's none of that in this movie. I don't even want the cop to live.
Well, I think this is
this movie. I'm just like, fucking, I don't care, dude. Who are you? Why do I give a shit about you? Why are you calling her? I don't know.
I think this brings up a good point, or a talking point, though, about what is considered sort of like, good cinema, or what is a good film, right? Because I think that's obviously changed throughout the history of cinema, where a lot of early movies were very much about, pure cinema, like sort of like giving us these spectacles and above the world, serious stuff, glamorous things. But then I think through the 90s, definitely through the 2000s, to 2010s, we found out that like that stretched a little, which is great, that you can have these movies that aren't in that sort of tone and that sort of that meaning still be something quite entertaining and impactful, right? And it can exemplify someone who knows what they're doing with the art form.
Right.
This movie is I think now a prime example of like, we should be teaching people like, this is not a good movie. You can like it. I don't give a shit. Whatever you want, you like it, you like it. Sure. But don't tell me this is like, again, good comedy, right? Good filmmaking, good directing. No.
Yeah.
So like, we should do an essay on like what constitutes as like the difference between a bad movie that's well made and with purpose versus those are just like, this is a burger made out of fucking mushrooms or something. Again, I don't know. That's not how it's not right.
Going to be this is going to be the biggest talking point of February so far. And until,
probably,
I mean, I feel like John Wick comes out early March or I don't know,
Yeah,
but
by then it will be. Actually, it's. I
yeah.
think John Wick comes out late March. I think it's like
Oh.
March 20 something.
Oh,
So we have some
well,
time.
But like, you know, people are going to be talking about it. They loved it, like that they love the movie, blah blah blah. But again, yeah, you're right. What is a good movie? What makes a good movie? What
Yeah.
is it? Because it can't be this, man. It can't be like a good chunk of these reviews also start with not to be taken seriously at all. You should go in with this expectations. Like, why are you already telling me that I need to shift my expectations for this movie, but then you're still going to give it a good review?
Right.
Like even John Campia, he had a really fun. Like I think he struggled very hard to say something good about this movie. And I think if you watch John Campia, he's mostly positive about everything. He said
tries to be.
he tries to be. He's very positive. Good for you. Good.
But he can. But granted, with him though, I agree with you. He when he doesn't like it though, he'll say it. That's the thing about like Campia that I like is that
he will say when he doesn't.
He
like
will
something,
say he doesn't
absolutely.
like it,
and he has no problem calling out issues in certain things.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
even
why.
Marvel
That's why I
stuff, he's
respect
like,
him.
I didn't like this.
I respect him in that way because he's actually one of those people who like is doing the show that he's doing online without, you know, he does get some screenings every once in a while, but he's nowhere near. He doesn't get every screening. If you notice, he typically has a review after it comes out because he has to go watch it and pay for it.
Yeah.
Because he knows that some of these places just won't let him in because he can be. He's actually he's us. But I know this is why I really respect John Campia.
Yeah,
like regardless of like how you feel about like what he thinks about movies, you know,
his review made me laugh because he goes, okay, just saw this. So I read the reviews and I really thought it was going to be good. And then he goes, and then he stops. Says, it's not a good movie. he's trying to be so positive, man.
Yeah.
I just, because he saw it after the reviews, so he's like, oh my god, this movie must be really good.
Right.
I don't know. It also for me, it really goes into a bigger talking point eventually. That what is up with critics? Critics.
Yeah, I
am honestly, I don't know. I don't know what's up. You know, I think there's like 450 reviews or something on Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like, why is there that many critics that are critically approved to be on the tomato meter? Why?
Because we've recently needed to encompass more people, diversity, just more people. But we've forgotten that there should be a standard to be withheld along with that, which that had to be broken in order to like, you know, get to that goal of diversity. We had to, because we couldn't wait for it. We couldn't wait. We couldn't allow the process to take itself as we've done it for years, because we just needed to see these things now. Otherwise, shit like buildings go on fire, blow up, or small businesses go under because people get whiny and they resort to violence. That's really what it is. And you got people here, these poor motherfuckers who catch themselves getting in this job, and they realize, oh, I watch movies, but I also have a social personality now. That's another big part of it, is that there's another part to this job that they have to uphold, which is what they look like to everyone, not just their employer anymore. They have to think about what they look like. Do you remember Roger and Ebert? They literally gave movies straight to people's faces across America a fucking thumbs down if they didn't like the movie. They said this straight to people in their faces.
Don't recommend it. Yeah.
Don't recommend it.
But now it's not. Now everything's like, well, blah, 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 blah. You know,
people got to run around and be like, I don't know, like it's fine.
One of the best things about this podcast is the amount of people, and I know you have it too, but the amount of people that have reached out to me personally, who I would never think would agree with our takes.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yes, I've had that.
Would agree with our takes on something. Like I said, like we said last week, the reviews for Ant-Man and the Wasp are weird, and we personally think it's because the movie contains no wokeness in it, and that's why it's getting judged honestly, is what we said.
Right.
And the amount of people that have reached out to me saying, yo, I think you're dead on about this after listening to the episode. And I said something about how Joel has been killed in masculinity wise, and how it's a bigger problem.
I got a lot of people talking about Last of Us with me on that. Yeah.
And
especially
so
gamer
many
friends.
So many different friends, people who would never mention anything about stuff like that are
They're
going.
typically not in the conversation at all.
No,
Your
not in that
normal
conversation.
rounds. Yeah, your normal rounds. Yeah, they're like, yeah.
I think you hit it on the nose, dude. And I never really looked at it like that, but you're right.
Yeah.
Like, and I go, dude, masculine characters are dead and they're dying faster than you could. They're endangered.
Yeah.
And they're on their way to being extinct.
Right.
And that's the best thing about this podcast, that we've been able to,
I agree.
People are starting to like reach out and be like, I think you're right. I think you guys are onto something. But,
exactly. There's there's people. I told you a certain person that I was like, who came up to me in person, and I was like, what did you say?
Yeah.
What did he say? He actually kind of like gave a little olive branch there. I'm like, wow,
dude.
All right.
Again, like, it's not so much. All we want is just good shit. We just want.
Yeah, I'm a fighter for good art, man. I just love movies, and I will stick up for good movies, and I'm not tolerant of bullshit.
Yeah, like,
I'll be tolerant about a lot of things,
right?
But bullshit is not one of them.
Like you said earlier in this review about Cocaine Bear, you said, listen, if you like this movie, that's totally fine.
Of course.
Our problem is with the critic scores.
Right.
The reviews.
I'm having a problem with the movie being shitty. I've seen a lot of shitty movies.
The reviews feel completely disingenuous to me.
Exactly.
And totally forced. And it's just like, what? Is it because you like Elizabeth Banks? Is it because it's different than Ant-Man? Like, so you admit that you're judging on a curve.
Right.
So you admit one basically does.
Some people are basically saying it right there in their pull quote.
Hey, it's different, so I'm going to give it a good review.
Yeah.
So you judge. So not every movie's judged on the same criteria, which you said last week. We're going to have a whole show on, this thing's not made for you, but I'm going to, that whole thing. It's not made for you. That means, but I'm still going to give it a good review. Just because it's not made for me doesn't mean, if you don't like something, you don't like something.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's not. These are again, a lot of moviegoers though, like those friends who are not in those circles. They actually don't. I think most of them actually still see movies as an escape. This is what it doesn't enter their minds what's sort of really going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So do I.
Yeah.
I think that like movie is escapism, and like critic reviews shouldn't be taken that seriously. But this movie's going to go on to make 20-something million, and it's outperforming its numbers, and part of it is the critic reviews. The reviews do have a big effect on that.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. Is this something that we should be telling people to waste their hard-earned money on?
For me, it's never been about that to me. Look, if whatever you want to do with your money is your business. I really don't. I don't care. It's not when I say watch a movie or whatever, or when I give a review of a movie, it's never about whether or not you should spend money. I think you should go see it. I think people should be more comfortable watching shit that they may not know if they will like until you go see it. That's what I'm for. I'm for experimentation. Like you should go out there, spend the money if you like. You should spend the money. If you're gonna if you're gonna tell me you can spend $7 on shitty coffee, you can spend $20 on a movie that took millions of dollars to make. Have the respect. Yeah. And I have a bias because I love movies and I know what it takes to make them. But still, that doesn't stop the fact that that's true. Everyone's fighting for all these small businesses that make shitty food. That's fine. I mean, but then fight for it across the board, then, assholes. Hey, that's just the truth. Like, come on, man. These people saying like fucking
that makes shitty food.
$12 for shit I can make at Ralph's because it's a small business. It's like, okay, fine. I mean, do whatever you want, but then fucking make it across the board. Then, there's no consistency. Then they're gonna complain about a movie that sucks. I spent $20 on this movie. It's like, well, boo fucking who? Who gives a shit? At least you got to see the movie. Like you still had an experience. Sometimes we have bad days at Disneyland. Okay, not every fucking thing you spend money for is going to be the best thing ever. That's just not how the world works. You pay to engage. You also pay to try and do it. Right. It's like, well, sometimes it sucks. And so stop. I don't. The argument about whether or not you should watch a movie and spend money is like not my discussion. I don't care whether or not you do it or not. I want to talk about the movie. Let's talk about the movie as is. And, fine. If you didn't like it, you didn't like it. That's cool. And I think people really should be more comfortable with that. I'm so tired of the conversation. I'm like, I don't want to spend this much money on this movie. Okay, then
but
watch it on matinee. There's other options. Can we stop talking about that? Let's,
But again, to Cocaine Bear, it's like, it's just like a critic should judge the movie on what the movie gives you. And in this movie, you don't get compelling story. You don't get a compelling character. Not one character is compelling.
No.
You get
the bear, maybe.
You get very, very insane violence that you're kind of like, whoa. But like, you could have killed the bear and felt sad at the end. You get no emotion out of this movie at all, except for like maybe a little bit of shock when you go, Jesus, that was violent.
Here's the other thing about why the movie is absolute shit is that at some point, this is just a bear attack movie. Who gives a shit? Like, who cares if it's on cocaine?
Yeah.
It's just, this is what happened if a bear attacks you. You can make up any reasons for a bear to attack you the way it did. Yeah. And the cocaine just, whatever. Yeah. Okay. Makes it what? More angry. Like, what the fuck? Like to me,
excuse, really.
Exactly. So like, it has nothing to even do with a bear being on cocaine. It has nothing to do about the bear itself being on cocaine. The best part of the movie to me, this is way too late, so I didn't give a shit. But like the inkling of like, oh, this is what I expected was when like they're at the gazebo and like the bear's acting weird. You know, like the bear is like, kind of like
he falls
being
asleep.
a little bit of a balloon. He falls
asleep.
I was like, okay, yeah, that's what a bear on cocaine on a movie I would expect. Like that's kind of funny. Like that's interesting.
Yeah,
a bear attacking we've seen many times. That's not weird.
Too much. Yeah,
but like the bear fucking doing weird shit like that I thought was funny. Like that's really entertaining. But that's like 2 seconds of the movie. So you know, that small part I thought was really fun. But other than that, by then I jumped the ship though. So it's like, you know,
I like this. We can end it here. I really like this review.
Okay, go for it.
Because this is, I think this encapsulates both of us here.
Okay.
Many of the set pieces in director Elizabeth Banks' one joke film are shocking, not because they're good, but because they're so boring. The film promises big laughs and scares, but doesn't manage to deliver either.
Anything. I mean, dead on.
Doesn't deliver anything. It's
dead on. It. But you know what? 70% of people would say otherwise. So
and it's going to get a sequel.
Whatever,
Cocaine Shark is in development.
Cocaine
Elizabeth Banks is directing.
Shark.
Actors stop becoming directors. Let directors be directors who like studied the art form.
Yeah.
For the love of God, please.
To be honest, they're just also more intellectual because they read books and you don't.
What's a book?
Exactly. I say that as someone who also doesn't read books, but you don't see me fucking putting myself, tuning myself as the next Christopher Nolan.
I've been telling myself to read more books.
Me too, dude. I just can't.
I still can't do it.
Why? Well, because why read books when you got movies?
Why read a book? I can go watch this. You'll be entertained over here.
No, for real though. I do. I say the same thing literally all the time. I'm like, fuck. If I just read more books though, I would be so. I'd be much smarter. I'd be doing so much better things than what I'm doing. I think
my sister reads a lot of books. I'm smarter than her, so I don't care what anybody fucking says. Reading books does not make you more.
Depends
smart.
what you read. How about that? Okay,
that's true.
You know.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. We spent a lot of time on Cocaine Bear.
You said you wanted to spend short time. You're the host today. You should have cut us off. Bro.
I know. I'm sorry, but you kept bringing up really good points. I'm sorry.
You, but like,
I know.
Short time. All right.
My bad. I got excited. Yes. Let's move on